Now we're back for Kung Fu Havoc number 2, as well as Instagram. Alright, a lot of things. I made some moves last night. I made some martial art moves last night. I made all kinds of stuff that's already up on Kung Fu Havoc number 2. Instagram, if you're here, you can go check that out. I do not know how to tell you that the link is in the bottom of the screen, because it's not. I don't know how to put the link from Kung Fu Havoc 2 on my Instagram, because I'm as dumb as a box of rocks. That's how that works out. So, just remember, one word, lowercase letters, Kung Fu, Havoc spelled with a K, and the number 2. It's not hard to find. I'll be in a bow and arrow with an Avenger shirt on. A big-ass blue A in a red trim. That shirt no longer exists, so it's very important that I keep that picture. Okay, moving on. So, here's the minor differences between Kung Fu and Karate. Kung Fu is more of a power game, where Karate, that was a fuck up. Just in case y'all weren't aware that I totally fucked that up. What I meant to say was, Karate is more of a power game, and Kung Fu is more of a direct game. Now, the tiny differences between the two are very, very slim. Alright? So, it also depends on what style of Kung Fu you take, and also depends on what style of Karate you take. Technically, Aikido and Jiu-Jitsu and Judo all tend to fall into Karate. Alright? Same thing with Kempo. Because the Kempo I learned first apparently was from Korea, which is not Karate, but it's also not Taekwondo. But there's also an Okinawa Kempo, which I also took. And then there's a Shaolin Kempo that I just learned about. So, there you go. Apparently, Kempo is very well known. Now, Taekwondo was Korean. Kempo apparently is Korean and Japanese and Chinese. Ninjutsu initially is Chinese, but became Japanese. Don't ask. I didn't make this shit up. I just follow the rules. Now, again, Karate is power. So when you learn Karate and you're in your horse stance, they teach you boom, 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 or boom, here, here. Where Kung Fu, they'll teach you, you got your block, strike, and then when it comes to your legs, it's pretty much the same thing. Block, knee, because it was the closest knee, or block, knee, which was literally the closest knee. So you'll figure it out as you go along. But to round it all out, the bottom line is that all martial arts are relative. How you intend to use and knowing when to switch up styles becomes your daily task. Alright? Sometimes karate works better than Kung Fu. Sometimes Kung Fu works better than karate. There is no in-between time where one is better than the other. Because in the middle of a fight, do you think you're going to have time to remember, should I do karate block 1 and counter, or should I do Kung Fu block 1, break, and counter? Alright? You're not going to be thinking about none of that shit when there's a fist flying at your face. You don't have time to think about that shit. You only have time to react. And your reaction has to be split second and on time. You can't get out of the way of a punch, you block it. You can't block it, you get out of the way. You can't do either, you take the hit. It's just that simple. You really don't have a whole lot of options in fighting. Block, avoid, take the hit. You know, one way or another, somebody's going to get hit in a fight anyway. So, if you take the hit and it's like brushing it off, then that person probably didn't hit you with everything they have, which is good for you and them. It's good for you because it didn't knock you the fuck out. It's good for them because they didn't break a hand. Alright? Yes, the most easy thing to break in a fight is your own hand. Versus your opponent's jaw, you will probably break your hand before you break their jaw. And the reason why I say that is because when I was taught street fighting, I was taught to hit people as hard as I can with everything I got, and hopefully that would take them out. What I learned street fighting was that shit don't always work, because some people's face is made out of fucking steel. And sometimes the harder you hit a motherfucker, the more they like that shit. When I started learning martial arts, what I learned was, it's not how hard you hit, it's where you hit. That's apparent for every martial art that is being taught. If they don't teach you that one rule that I just said, it's not how hard you hit, it's where you hit, then they probably shouldn't be teaching a martial art. Alright? You don't have to agree with that, but I'm going to say it, and I'm going to mean it when I say it. If I attack you in the face with everything I got, and I hit you square in the jaw, it doesn't rock your shit, it doesn't knock your shit, it doesn't make you move, I'm in trouble. Simple as that. If I boom and I come back, and I mean I put power, weight, and everything into that shit, and you don't budge, it'll be like Colossus versus Gladiator. Irresistible force, immovable object. I'm the irresistible force, you're the immovable object, and I crack you with everything I got. And I don't break my hand in the process. And I don't break your jaw. Two things are about to happen. I better come up with a game plan because that shit didn't work. And two, you're pissed. So now, if you're pissed and you're focused, we got a good fight. If you're pissed and you're not focused, I got a chance to win this motherfucker. Alright? Because there's a second rule that they should probably teach you in the dojo, which more than likely most people don't, because 30% of what I'm teaching you in the dojo, you're going to be able to walk outside and use that shit. That other 70% is just exercise. Really, it is. Alright? We got warm-ups. So, you go to the gym, you got your jumping jacks, you got your punches, you got your side steps, back to jumping jacks, drop, couple push-ups, back up, and then y'all get in line. Chuyo kunye. Sabi. Long bow. Hands at the wrists. Step up, step up, step up. You know the drill. If you've been in a dojo, you know exactly what I'm talking about, where you take this odd-ass step, adjust, odd-ass step, and you keep your hands here. Then if the teacher's coming by to make sure you know what you're doing, he'll say, long bow, left block. Long bow, right block. And then it's short bow, left block. Short bow, right block. You get the gist. You go through the motions. Again, that's that part of the 70% that you're not going to use when you get outside. Alright? Now, if you're taking judo and they're teaching you, I'm pulling you towards me, so you switch the motion by using my strength against me. Grab, twist, pull, throw. You're learning what you can do and what you cannot do. Sorry, trying to wave. Now, here's the thing. Most dojos, unless you're taking a kickboxing class or a Thai fighting class, maybe capoeira, maybe Lambada, don't emphasize these or these. Now some do. Boom, 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 boom. But a lot of classes that do traditional karate or taekwondo, karate, or basic Wing Chun don't really emphasize your knees. Now some Wing Chun does. It just depends on who's teaching you and what Wing Chun did they taught, or what Wing Chun did they learn. A lot of Shaolin Kung Fu and Wushu does emphasize some knees, some elbows, and some grappling techniques. So it really depends on who's teaching you what. Now, if you're throwing spin kicks, it's a good thing with a spin kick. Did you know how to block and sweep, or block and sweep, or grab and throw? Really depends on what you've been taught in that class. If I'm throwing a stepping side kick, that means I'm going to take my my left foot behind my right foot to chamber this right foot up, and then I'm going to launch it out. That was for Taekwondo. Now if I'm going to do Kung Fu, and I go from crane, where I can start from butterfly, go here, and then here, that's a lot of wasted motion. It'd be simple just to do that. That side kick also can be a hook kick. So, so you can hook it around. Now you have to learn how to recover in case shit goes wrong. Which goes back to that 30% of what you can use versus the 70% of what you are being taught that you cannot use. Alright? 9 times out of 10, what they don't teach you is what you actually need. What they do teach you, again, is exercise. A lot of people are going to contradict me on that. That's fine. You're well within your right. But like I said, who the hell walks around with a katana all day? You're not in feudal Japan, so you're not going to walk around with a katana all day. It's not in your repertoire. Plus, I think in the 50 states it might be illegal. So it's hard to say what you're going to be able to do or not do. Now, A lot of the kicks, it depends on, again, your situation. There will never really be a time in a street fight where you'll get to do this tornado kick. You know, you'll never get that chance unless you're fighting someone who is not a fighter, who's never been in a fight, and have no idea where you're going to pull that from. But if you're straight fighting somebody who's fighting, you're going to have to stay with basics. Boom, boom. You know, that was a double in case you didn't see it. So it was front and then turn. Understand? So again, that saves me time. Unless I miss that first kick, that second kick is there for that. But if I miss both, I need to be able to get back into my fighting stance to be ready for what comes next. Most dojos don't prepare you for that shit. I'm on camera, what are you doing? But don't come past the light. I don't care. Knock yourself out. Anyway, if you're going to be fighting, you're going to need to know what works and what doesn't work in all situations. Like I said, in a dojo, you learn 100% of martial arts, but only 30% when you walk out that dojo is effective. And the reason why I'm giving you 30%, you're thinking, wow, that's such a low number, James. Let me explain that to you and why it's such a low number. 9 times out of 10, unless you come from a hella bad neighborhood, like the one I used to live in, where because of my ethnicity being mixed, people like to pick fights with me. Also, I'm 5'3". I'm the biggest target in any room that I go into. Any room. No matter what. Because people see a little guy and they think he's 100 and nothing and he's 5 foot nothing. It's going to be easy pickings. See, I like that because when you think I'm easy pickings, that just means I get to hit you harder and I get to be stronger than I look. Never underestimate your opponent by looks. That will be your first downfall in any fight. Henceforth, that 30%. Teachers don't nowadays teach you about underestimating your opponent. They teach you, you give me $250 for 3 months. 3 months go by, 250 more bucks come out of your pocket. And what have you learned? Okay, you've learned block, counter, block, counter, block, counter, block, counter. You've learned front kick. Front kick. You've learned jumping front kick. You've learned crescent kick outside to inside. You learned crescent kick inside to outside. But what have you been able to use while sparring? Sparring, you're fighting a classmate who's learned everything you've learned. You're not allowed to go all out in sparring because rule number 1, don't hurt your training partner. Rule number 2, you don't know how good your sparring partner is until one of y'all slip up and you eat feet, or concrete. So you should always train in gear just to be on the safe side. But also, you should never go full out in training. But when you're training, you need to make sure that you're training properly and you try to tap, because you're just training. But when you're training by yourself, it's okay to go full out because there's no one there for you to hurt. Like if you got the bags, hit them bags as hard as you want. But when you're training with a person, you gotta know not to do that. And if you want more advice on that, go watch Ramsey Dewey and all those other guys who are total experts. I'm an expert in the street. I'm gonna tell you what you can do in the street and what you can't. All right? It's a highly unlikely chance that you're gonna get to do that tornado kick. You can get lucky. If you're making a movie, hell yeah, you can do that tornado kick because you're making a movie and it's entertaining and you would much rather see me do this than see me do something as simple as, you're going to want to go see that tornado kick in a movie versus me doing a double side kick or spinning hook kick, spinning heel. You're going to want to see the fancy shit. And that's great for movies. But in real life, if you miss anything that I just did, like anything, if you miss this kick, you see the distance and the speed that it takes for me to get around? If you duck, bow, I'm already short. It's going to be an easier trip for me to go to the ground. Or, let me do it more correctly. If I do this spinning back kick, and you sweep my foot as I go over your head, I'm going down. I'm going to get injured. No doubt about it. And if it's a real fight, I'm going to get my ass kicked. So, you want to kick basics. You know, guy's coming at you, boom! He ran into a front kick. If he gets up, boom! He runs into another one. He gets up again, boom! Turning round kick. He gets up again, boom! Another turning round kick. Understand, any kick that takes your eyes off of your opponent for a split second could be the kiss of death. Henceforth, that 30%. Alright? Now, they don't tell you this shit because somebody's really got something going on out here. They don't tell you this shit because they want you to keep paying, and yes, that was a wedgie. They want you to keep paying the $250 a month. The more money that you shell out, the more we're going to teach you. But what works and what doesn't work is what they're not going to teach you. That being said, somebody's running at you and you're nervous, you're not going to do this. If you miss, they can go right by you. If they're fast enough, they can catch you and body slam you. There's a whole lot of things that people can do to you when your ass is off the ground versus when you're in the ground, you know, boom. Same thing, someone's coming at you to sweep. Boom, you know, drive a knee into their face. Make them think twice before they decide, hell, I'm going to tackle this guy. Yeah, you're going to try to tackle this guy. Sorry, trying to wave, people. Not good with technology. So somebody's coming at you to tackle you. Yeah, you got options. That knee to the face, you know, try to hit them in the forehead. And if you miss their forehead, that's their problem, not yours. Because they should have been trying not to tackle you. I talked last night in a video, or 2 nights ago, at how much I suck at BJJ. I am not knocking BJJ. It's just not for me. I'll still roll with you motherfuckers. But I'm pretty sure someone's going to tap my ass out. Now, in real life, you're not going to get your chance to use BJJ on me as long as I'm standing on my feet. Understand everything that I just said in that 30%. I learned how to fight against BJJ by getting my ass kicked with BJJ. Does that make sense to you? If it doesn't, then let me explain my whole business behind Kung Fu Havoc number 2. 1. There are thousands of martial arts styles. There are thousands of us martial artists out here. Everybody jockeying to be the best. Everybody. I'm better than you. You're better than me. I'm the next Bruce Lee. That runs through a lot of people's head. Here's reality. You can be better than me at a style. Doesn't mean you're going to be better than me when we go fisticuffs. Because of my age and my experience, I got at least 1 or 2 things over you. 1, I'm 5'3" and a half. I got some military training. Before I went to the military, I got military training. After I got in the military, I got military training. Does my military training equal the stuff that I've had before? Hell to the no. Because the military training that I learned, the combatives were like, they were okay, but they weren't for me. Like BJJ and Taekwondo. I already knew Taekwondo. I knew more Taekwondo than they was teaching us. But for BJJ, it was new to me. So, hands down, I was getting my ass kicked until we did the pugil thing. You know, because I know how to work a bow staff and a monkey stick and an Aikido sword, etc., a pike. I have a list of weapons that I can work fairly well. Am I aces with them? Probably not. But I'm probably better than most of the people watching me right now. But, you know, here's the thing about weapons. Only good if you can get to them. And not good if someone who knows how to use it better than you takes it from you. So, these things right here, and these things right here, these things and these things, those are your weapons. Those are what you need to be good at. Because those are what you're going to have with you everywhere you go. Versus, I got a knife, I got a gun, I got a katana. 9 times out of 10, somebody will have a knife or a gun. They probably won't be carrying a katana around. 30%. Now, here's the thing. If you're good at capoeira, and I'm okay with it, there's a good chance I can still beat you with that shit. because you might get overzealous. So you capoeiraing it out. You got your Jenga, boom, Jenga. You know, you got your shit. Let's say my capoeira is no good, but my drunken master is better than your capoeira. I have to adapt so that I can beat your capoeira. Alright? So you going for that backflip handspring kick thing, and that means you're going to extend your toe like a ballerina. So if I sidestep and catch that sumbitch and pull you, or if I sidestep and kick you in the back of the head because you're doing a back handspring, your eyes have left me 30%, which gives me 70% chance that I can take your ass out when you go for this backflip kick thing, or for the Shaolin Kung Fu, the pancake, which used to be called the Shaolin layback. Somewhere along the line, it changed to the pancake, the same way the kick up became the kip up. I don't know how that shit works. I'm 47. Anyway, when you're going for this kick, and it's the capoeira one, where your hand's on the ground, I got ways to avoid that. I can do a scorpion fall and kick your foot. I can get the fuck out the way, which is the best suggestion. Or as soon as you get to where you're in motion, I can sweep your foot and kick you in the crotch. I can do some really nasty shit to you because you took your eyes off of me. I can stick with basics and beat anybody all day because eye contact versus fancy shit. Fancy sidestep, ridge hand. That's not fancy. That's a sidestep and a ridge hand. You're doing the fancy. You're going to do the capoeira backflip kick. I'm going to get the fuck out the way. I'm not even going to approach you on that. But you got to approach me to beat me. So, karate, block, strike. Kung Fu, block, break, strike. I got options. Understand that. And here's the thing. I'm not trying to beat you. I'm trying to recognize your style and match it. And if I can match it and I can adapt, you're going to fuck up. Because it's going to throw you off your game. But like, okay, when I started fighting this guy, he took a regular fighting stance. He didn't do what I did. I'm doing capoeira. So, now capoeira has 3 Jengas. I'm pretty sure a lot of you did not know that. They have 3 Jengas, alright? Now, all the Jengas look exactly the same, but your body position changes. So you have your high, where you don't really move. It looks like I'm doing that disco fever thing. But then you have your mid, and then you have your exceptionally low. Those low guys, the lower they go, they're setting you up for the backflip kick. And you'll walk right into it if you don't know what you're looking for. Is that a wave? Yes, it is. Now, think about martial arts, you have to understand. You need to be able to recognize the style the second that the fight starts. You can't wait until after you get hit to realize what this guy's hitting you with. You know, and especially if they're going fancy. Most fighting stances all start the same until you recognize the style. You break into a fighting stance and this dude busts out into a Jenga, already know. Capoeira a la moda. Alright? So you need to be ready for that shit. You ain't got to match him. You just got to like start reading his moves, you know. Alright? So you know his Jenga. Let me get close enough so y'all see me. You know his Jenga is going to go way, or it's going to go mid, or it's going to go high. A high Jenga is harder to combat because you don't know if he's going to go for a backflip kick or if he's just going to go straight front kick. Understand? That's why I said they have 3 Jengas. Depends on who's teaching your student what. Alright, so he's got a high Jenga where he's up here, he's blocking high, he's not really going low, he's probably going to try some basic shit, or his body and his range of motion isn't like it used to be. A lot of the mid guys and the low guys have better range, so they're going to try fancy shit. You know, I don't have the upper body strength for that shit anymore, so that's not an option, but I've learned enough capoeira to know, alright, if this guy's going to try something fancy, he's going to do a lower Jenga because it gives his body time to swing through and have more momentum. Your momentum in a fight also carries the fight too. Once you take advantage, it's pretty much your fight. Unless you're fighting someone who knows what the fuck they're doing. Maybe they let you take the advantage so they can set you up for a quicker defeat. Unless luck tunes in and they tend to walk into a fight and get knocked the fuck out. Now, you're doing the Jenga. I'm doing Drunken Master. I'm watching your Jenga. Block, 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 block. So, my drunken master, I sway from side to side. Your Jenga is a sway left and a step back. Sway right and a step back. So now you see how the Jenga works. Now my drunken master, it can be snake, it can be crane, it can be dragon and tiger, it can be mantis. You don't know what my hands are going to do because I'm doing the drunken master versus your Jenga. Alright? I'm adapting as you're Jengaing. You might do the one handspring kick over. You know, I need to be ready for that. Boom. Boom. So, snake. Or crane. Understand how that works. 30%. Why do I keep referring back to 30%? Because the 70% of the shit that you do in a dojo involves a lot of horse stance. Until you start training like MMA where you actually put on the gloves and y'all actually can go at it a little bit. But for traditional karate schools and shit, you got that. That's pretty much the gist of it right there. Then it's here, it's here, it's here, it's here, it's here. But you're going to be in horse stance, low block, horse stance, low block, horse stance, high block, horse stance, high block, mid block, 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 block. 30%. Then you start your horse stance, you go to long bow, front kick, switch feet, long bow, front kick. Now you're doing taekwondo, long bow, turning round, long bow, turning round, short bow, low kick, short bow, front kick. You understand where we're going? When the fight breaks out, there's no time to remember what stance does what. It's either you or it's me. And I ain't trying to let it be me. That's how this shit works. When you go to these dojos, they don't explain the odds and ends, the do's, the don'ts, but they take your money and they plaster you with a belt and say, hey, you have a black belt. Good luck. Well, I'm here to tell you, I've beaten a few black belts in some street fights. I've beaten some black belts in sparring matches. I've lost sparring matches to a black belt, but only one. But he wouldn't fight me anymore because he was a coward. And this time the fight was going to be for real. But he jumped in the car and rode back up to New York after he talked all that fucking shit. So again, your belt quality. Your belt is basically to hold up your pants. Or, if you're smart, your belt is something to bind your opponent. A lot of the Gracies have gotten some flack for that shit, with wrapping their gi around the hands of their opponents and shit like that. You have to go watch some of the videos. But I can tell you now, in a street fight, no one would have fucking knocked the Gracies for that shit. But in competition, it's not fair. No, you gotta do competition, be sportsmanlike, and do the shit right. Follow your own damn rules, not break them. Really? How about not standing behind me, old school? That way you don't get kicked when I start doing martial arts again. Now, here's the thing. A basic punch, that's a jab, that's a hook, that's an uppercut. They exist in martial arts, mostly in Chinese boxing. In other words, they take out the traditional hold to impact. No. Impact. No. First and foremost, no one does that anymore. If anybody's still doing old school Wing Chun where you hold until impact, congratulations, because I can't focus that long to strike at you and then do this. Now, if I'm doing a ridge hand, I can do it. Yeah, because it's a ridge hand. I don't have to shut my hand. I just have to boom and strike you in the throat. But, you know, if I'm doing that, that's going to take way too much time to cut through the air and try to punch you where you can just bat the shit away. But if my fist is already set and you're batting it away, see, that works better for me. Now, I watched some videos about some combos. So we're going to do a couple of combos before I go, which involves elbows. And I've seen it in this young woman that I follow here on Instagram. She's a badass. So she was training with a guy, and he threw a kick, and she caught him, and she tagged him, and then she elbowed him. All right, which is Thai fighting. All right, because Thai fighting specifically elbows and knees. All right. So if you're gonna learn a martial art, don't pick one. Pick them all, because you're gonna need that 30% from each one to fight someone who does martial arts. All right, and that's the thing about martial arts is kicks and punches involved, but you gotta know where to hit a person, you gotta know where to kick a person, and your directness with kung fu and your power with karate, you're gonna have to learn how to combo those some bitches. So if I throw a kung fu block at your punch, this is jab, and I catch it. So I got both hands on this side of your body. I'm going to push the elbow and pull the wrist. So I'm breaking it. And then if I'm going to use kung fu, when I pull you this way, my knee's coming up. And if it's on your right, I'm going for a liver, a kidney, or a rib. If I want to do karate from there, I'm going to take the knee that's the furthest away, and I'm going to drive that sumbitch into your stomach, perfectly your sternum, and try to knock the air out of you. From there, if I'm going to do kung fu, I'm going to elbow you with the same leg side. So that's going to be in the base of your neck, because I'm trying to end this fight so that you don't fuck me up. Now, the reason why I say the base of your neck, there's some vertebrae in your neck that are very, very sensitive to pain. Anybody who's had a broken neck or a sprained neck can agree with this, and if you haven't, then you have never been hit in these three bones in the back of your neck. These three bones in the back of your neck can come out to be fatal. I don't know what the hell you just done. The old dog's outside. I mean, she just hauled ass, so I don't know if I should run or not. But anyway, you're going to elbow them in the back of the neck. You've already kneed them, so you're going to elbow them. Now, if you want to be nasty, which is what I recommend, I'm sorry, but I'm going to be honest, I'm going to recommend that you follow through. You need them so they're hunched over. You're elbowing them, be nasty. As you elbow them, sweep that foot, because they're already bent over, so sweep the foot and fall down on their neck. Is it right? Probably not. Will it save your ass? Hell yeah. So I'm not going to teach you something that you can't use. Period. That 30% that you can use when you leave the dojo, you focus on that shit. That 70%, when you're in the dojo, that's where that counts at. You go into a competition that's in a dojo, in a gym, you do the 70%. You're out in the street, that 30% is a fuck ton more important than that 70%. So try to remember that. I'm getting cold, my nose is running, so I'm going to end this video with that. But I want you guys to understand, if you don't practice this shit, it's not going to be effective at all. You have to train. You have to live, breathe, eat, sleep martial arts. It's not something that you can take and, oh, I'm going to do 30 push-ups today, and I'm not going to do any punching and kicking. I'm going to do 15 setups. Okay, so you're hardening the body and you're strengthening the arms. But you left off the important part, that 30% of, I got to throw some punches. I got to get used to my body throwing those punches. I got to step back. Boom. I got to step back. Boom. I got to step back. I got to block. I got to knee. I got to block. I have to know how my body is going to work, how it's going to react, and it needs to become second nature. Second nature is very important. For those who have no idea what second nature is, I want you to Google that. That's your homework assignment for tonight. So the next time that you guys see me on, or if you want to swing by Kung Fu Havoc #2 and check out some of my stuff, second nature is, all right, to end the video with second nature. I have been trained to box like this, jab, jab, hook, and eventually that's how you will box. I suck at boxing. So I'm used to doing jab, jab, boom, because I'm used to doing that. I've been doing that since I've learned martial arts. Jab, jab, boom. When your body starts to take control, muscle memory, Google that. That works a lot better than second nature. When it becomes muscle memory, boom, boom. When you know what works, boom, boom. You're going to block, kick because you got it on the inside. Block, break, strike, you got it on the inside. When it starts becoming muscle memory, don't change it. You can get a new style and get more muscle memory, 30%, whereas 70%. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to do this reverse tornado kick. It's going to suck ass, but I'm still going to do it. And you're either going to like it or you're not. But I'm going to do this reverse tornado kick. You will most likely never see this in real life unless somebody's really lucky. And you will more than likely never use this in real life unless you're making a movie. Michael Worth does this better. Brian Genesis does this better. And Gary Daniels does this better. And also, Jason David Frank does this better. So my shit's way low class. So reverse tornado. I don't know what that looks like because it's dark out here. I'll watch it later. But you will more than likely never get the chance to do that. And if you miss that kick, by the grace of God, if you miss that kick, you're in deep shit. So for Kung Fu Advocate number 2, be seeing you. And for Instagram.